Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. I've got Spurs fan Josh with me. We've got a huge game in an hour's time. Leeds United v Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League. We've got 4 games left, 12 points up for grabs. And if we've got any chance of getting that top 4 spot, we have to win every single game. Particularly when you see last night, Leicester City losing at home to Newcastle United in that fashion. Josh, how are you? Are you feeling excited ahead of today's game?
Yeah, very excited. As you said, totally agree with what you said. It is a massive game for us today. We really need those 3 points. We can't afford anything other than those 3 points today. And literally, as you said, it is starting to open up now with Leicester losing against Newcastle. They've got some tough games to go. Manchester United, Chelsea and us on the final day. Looks like top 4, if we do win every game, it is a possibility. But of course, it's going to be very difficult to win all of our remaining fixtures. Yeah, this is a tough game today against Leeds. They're not an easy opponent. They're a well coached side. They play good football, so we need to go out there today, play some attacking football, bring the game to Leeds, and grab those 3 points.
The lineup will be out in just a few minutes' time, which we will bring you as soon as we get notification of it. Morgan 1882 writes here, Josh, we need to win equals pressure. We don't handle pressure well. I'll go 2-2. Now, that is a thing, isn't it? You know, us Tottenham fans, whenever we seem to say, well, if we win today, we can do this. If we do this, you know, we'll go second or whatever. Whenever we say, if we win today, we can do X, Y, and Z. Whenever we're under pressure, we never seem to deliver. And interestingly, no Tottenham manager has ever won their opening 3 Premier League games. Ryan Mason has won his opening 2. Can Tottenham do it today? And can Tottenham overcome this pressure?
Well, I didn't know that stat. That's a shocking one. But like we had under Jose, all the stats were being broken in the wrong way. So hopefully today Ryan Mason can actually break this record and get 3 wins in a row. But yeah, I think that is so. I couldn't really put it into better words. We do struggle under pressure. Whenever there is an opportunity to get into the top 4, we seem to crumble. Whenever there's a big opportunity to win a huge game and to move up the table or get into a cup final, we always bottle it. Hopefully today, let's try and deal with the pressure. And I think with Ryan Mason as the manager, I don't think these players are kind of caged in a system. They can express themselves on a pitch, so they've just got to go out there today, play the way that they feel comfortable with, and score some goals and go and win this game today. They've got to kind of forget about the bigger picture. They've just got to have their eyes on today and just nothing more than those 3 points. As I said, we can't afford a draw. As I'm not sure what his name was, but I think he said it was going to be 2-2, his prediction. That was funny enough. That was my prediction as well. Just because based off experience, because of exactly what he said about the pressure. But hopefully, obviously, you've got to keep positive. Hopefully, we can get these 3 points and get a win today. What's your prediction for today, Chris?
Do you know, Josh, all week I've been saying 1-1. And then last night when I've done my match preview, I've gone for a 2-1 Spurs win. It's funny, whenever we get closer to the game, I always feel that little bit more confident. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. But we have to win today. We have to deliver. The team lineup is just 1 minute away. Now, comment on screen, Josh. Would like to see the same starting lineup as last week. Would you play the same starting 11 that Ryan Mason played against Sheffield United?
Yeah, I would. I definitely would. There's the old saying out there, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think the players last week did a very good job. Don't change it up. We all know what happened under Jose. I know I keep bringing it back to Jose, but he was chopping and changing. That was very disruptive. I think Ryan Mason stick to that same team. Okay, we got a decent win last week. Let's actually get another win. Same team. Dele Alli. Hopefully he can get some kind of fitness and form back. Get him in there today. I heard that Dele has actually been injured, so I wouldn't bring him back quite yet. I'd start Dele Alli in there again. But yeah, keep it same. Keep it totally same. Don't start causing any disruption, because that's the last thing we need. But what about you, Chris? Who do you want to see starting?
I think I totally agree with you, Josh. I think that he's got to go with this same 11. I think it's a very, very attacking team. I love to see Gareth Bale in the team. Interestingly, all of Gareth Bale's Premier League goals for us this season have all come at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They've all come at home. The last away goal he scored for Tottenham was back in April 2013, 8 years ago. So perhaps we'll see a goal from him today. We certainly want that. But it's great to see Gareth Bale back in this form, Josh, isn't it?
Yeah, and I totally agree with you, Chris. But that is the Gareth Bale that we all expected was going to come to our football club, and it's been a tough time for Gareth Bale because I think Mourinho didn't really want him. He was a Daniel Levy signing, and obviously for the fans, it's been very special having Gareth Bale back. And there's nothing better than watching Gareth Bale score a goal for us. But I think he has had a tough time. His agent came out, I think his name's Jonathan, came out and said that it hasn't been a great time for Gareth. But in recent weeks, in recent months, you could say, he has started to hit the ground running. He's got a lot of goals for us. I think some like ridiculous stats, like he's got like 11 goals or something in 11 games or something like that. But he's played really well in recent weeks, Gareth Bale, and he has to play today. He's got to be in there. And I still can't believe Ryan Mason didn't play him in the cup final, didn't start him in the cup final. But the only silver lining to that is that he's got to start every game now until the end of the season. And hopefully, if he does start, he scores some more goals and we achieve top 4.
Well, Josh, the team lineup is out. Gareth Bale is in the starting 11 again. It is Hugo Lloris in goal, and then the back four of Sergio Aurier, Toby Alderweireld, Eric Dyer, who makes his 200th Premier League appearance, by the way, Sergio Reguilon, Giovanni Lo Celso, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Gareth Bale, Dele Alli, Heung-min Son, and Harry Kane.
Same side as last week. Well done, Ryan Mason. I'm really happy with that side. I think he's done the right thing, sticking to it. Completely opposite of what we've been used to with all the chopping and the changing and all of the kind of, especially the defensive disruption. We've had all kinds of centre-back pairings. I'm glad he stayed with Eric Dyer and Toby Alderweireld. I think that's really important. Got to build some kind of partnership. I thought those two were absolutely terrific in the cup final, especially. I know we didn't play very well, but those two did their job. And they've been decent in recent weeks. I think it's quite a shock. I know we give Eric Dyer a lot of criticism on this channel. He's one that actually gets a lot of criticism, but in recent weeks he's done a decent job, and I'm glad he's kept the same team. Are you happy with that team, Chris?
Very. I think you're absolutely right. You know, if you're winning, carry on that team, because I know it was only Sheffield United. I know a lot of fans got carried away, and a lot of fans said, well, it's only Sheffield United, but we should be beating these teams very comfortably anyway. Yeah. If we're going to go for that European spot, you should be battering these teams, Sheffield United. I think that this is a real test today. And I think that if we can get a win today, I think that among the fan base, it will certainly give all of us belief that we can go on and get that European spot. Because let's face it, a month or so ago, a lot of us thought that it would be a struggle to get a Europa League place. And now we're in the mix again. It is possible to get that Champions League place. We've just got to believe. And like Ryan Mason said in his press conference yesterday, you've got to take one game at a time. You've got to keep crossing them off and getting 3 points every time we play. So, it's very, very important. Anyway, Josh, the subs today, Matt Doherty, Davinson Sanchez, Harry Winks, Eric Lamela, Joe Hart, Moussa Sissoko, Stephen Bergvine, Lucas Moura, and Tongi Ndombele. The referee today, by the way, is Michael Oliver. Leeds United, of course, they've got Bamford. What have you made of him this season, Josh?
I think he's had a good season for Leeds. I've watched a bit of Leeds. They do play very very nice football to the eye. I like how they play. They Marcelo Bielsa's got them playing nice attacking football, and they're not a kind of bore fest, almost a bit like defensive football under Mourinho. They're the total opposite. So obviously we've got to respect them and the way they play. But there's also lots of disadvantages to the way they play, and that was exposed in the home game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They get done on the counter. They leave big gaps. If you watch some of the training videos this week that Tottenham put out, Ryan Mason was really focusing on like overlapping runs of wingers. I think we've really got to exploit those gaps in behind today and try and get some goals on the break with Son and Kane and Gareth Bale. But I think we can definitely get the 3 points today. I mean, we shouldn't be losing to Leeds United. We're a bigger football club and we're a better football club. We're Tottenham Hotspur. And I think there's no excuses. I hate saying it because every time I've said, there's no excuses, they always seem to kind of like mess up Tottenham. But hopefully today we can get those 3 points.
Interestingly, Josh, two key players for Leeds, Rafinha and Phillips, they're both on the bench today. And I read some ridiculous stat that I think out of the last 9 games, when Calvin Phillips hadn't played, they'd lost all these matches. He's a key player for them.
Yeah, he's really important for them, and he's obviously a young English prospect. He's a decent player. He's done well, but as you said, when he's not in there, they do struggle, and he's quite a presence in the midfield, and he's a bit of an anchor. He's probably a bit like their Højbjerg for us. He's very important to them, and obviously losing Rafinha as well. He's a very decent player. He reminds me of like a Lucas Moura type, quick, lots of pace and power. That's good for Spurs that he's not playing. I don't think he'll be at Leeds next year. I think there's a lot of Premier League clubs eye him up. But yeah, that's positive for Tottenham. Obviously not so positive for Leeds, but hopefully we can use that to our advantage.
Leeds United's last 6 Premier League games, they've won 3, they've drawn 2, and they've lost 1. The one that they lost was their last game at Brighton, losing to them 2-0. But in those matches, they beat Manchester City, of course, the league leaders, 2-1 at the Etihad Stadium. Very mixed season, Josh, that they've had. I think a lot of Leeds fans are very happy with the season that they've had. Do you see that they'll be doing very much next season? Do you think that they'll go out in the transfer market and become an even better side?
Well, I think as we just said, they play very nice football. They have got some big results. Like you said, they beat Man City at the Etihad, and I did watch that game. What a game that was! I thought they were absolutely superb. They've just beaten the Champions League finalists like we did at home. But yeah, I think they're a solid Premier League side. I think they should be in the Premier League. They are a big club, but I think we're bigger. Of course, every Spurs fan would say that. But I think they've got a lot of history, and they deserve to be in the Premier League. I'm glad that Marcelo Bielsa is actually doing well, because obviously he's a bit of a father figure to Pochettino, as they've got a bit of a connection. So that's nice to see. Just on the out, like not as a Spurs fan, just as a football fan. But yeah, good for Leeds. It's always nice seeing a newly promoted side do well, and good for them. You can't really say more, to be honest. But what about you? What do you think about Leeds?
Well, just not today, Josh. Just not today. Do you know what? I've been really happy watching Leeds this season. I love the attacking style. But for entertainment value for the neutral fan watching Leeds United, I think they're absolutely brilliant. I think earlier on in the season they got battered at Old Trafford by Manchester United, but they were still attacking. They were still attacking every single time. It was fantastic to watch. So they're just pleasing to watch, aren't they, for the neutral fan? For the people who have just joined us, just to confirm that the team lineup is exactly the same as the team that beat Sheffield United 4-0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in our last Premier League game. Hugo Lloris in goal, Serge Aurier, Toby Alderweireld, Eric Dyer, Sergio Reguilon, Giovanni Lo Celso, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Gareth Bale, Dele Alli, Heung-min Son and Harry Kane. Josh, Lee writes on screen now, would you be happy to take Ryan Mason as a permanent manager? Of course, there's been so much speculation about all of these managers possibly joining Spurs in the summer. But if Ryan Mason, he's won 2 out of 2 so far. We've got 4 left. If he wins those 4 and he wins 6 out of 6, does he get the job?
Well, as I've said before, it's a very tough decision for the club and a very tough decision for the board. But I mean, if Ryan Mason can deliver top 4, I mean, like Jose didn't deliver top 4, and now Ryan Mason, if he wins all of his games in charge and gets us top 4 football, then you've got to have a long, hard think about it. To be honest, if he can get these players actually playing with attacking decent football, playing to their strengths, then maybe we should have a think about giving him the job. He's a Tottenham boy, which is really nice to see. It's always good to have a player, kind of someone with experience who's actually been a player at your club, who's then the manager. But then there's also the downside of there's been quite a few of those types of managers in recent months in the Premier League, like Frank Lampard at Chelsea, and usually it goes a bit bitter. It might be quite hard at the end to kind of, if it does go wrong, you have to sack a former player, and that's not very nice. If you know what I'm trying to say. He hasn't got much experience compared to a lot of the managers in the Premier League. I think there was a stat where Ryan Mason he'd managed like 1 game for Tottenham, compared to Pep Guardiola in the cup final, who'd managed like 300 plus games. We are a very big club, and is that good enough for Tottenham? Do we need an experienced manager? Yes, I think we do. some kind of experience. But what do you think, Chris? Do you think we should give him a shot if we get top 4? I
don't know. This is why when everyone was saying about Jose Mourinho out, I thought if you sack Jose Mourinho, and I was very surprised at the time of the timing. I wasn't surprised by the sacking. I was surprised by the timing of it being just before a cup final. But I've always sat on the fence with Jose Mourinho because I thought that if we sack him, where do we go? And I still feel exactly the same. And I think that the club are feeling like that as well. Where do we go? It's a very, very important appointment. The next appointment as Tottenham Hotspur head coach is a very, very important one. I want someone to come in who has got vast experience. I know that, where do you go when you've had a great coach in Pochettino and then you go to a serial winner in Jose Mourinho? But you want someone with, some good experience. And I would personally keep Ryan Mason at the club and perhaps have him on as a coach to work with the experienced manager coming in. But a lot of these managers that I keep hearing about and seeing that we're linked with, none of them really excite me at the moment. But if I had to choose one, I'd go for Brendan Rodgers because he's managing the Premier League. I think he's done a superb job at Leicester, and every club where he has managed, I don't think he has done a bad job whatsoever. So I think that he would be a safe bet, if you like. Who would you like to see manage Spurs, Josh?
Well, talking about Brendan Rodgers, it's quite funny that we actually, the first time we're linked with him, and then he goes and plays Newcastle, and then they get absolutely battered. Maybe that's a bit of a Spurs curse or something. I saw quite a few tweets saying that. But yeah, I totally agree with you, Chris. Honestly, I'm not excited by any of these options. There's only one man that does actually excite me, and that is Poch. I don't know if there's any possibilities if we can get Pochettino back. I mean, the way PSG played in that Champions League semi-final against Man City was nothing short of a complete disgrace. They completely lost their heads, and I think Poch would have been absolutely heartbroken watching that. And also, Paris Saint-Germain probably aren't going to win the French league. It looks like Lille are going to probably win the French league with 2 games to go. PSG aren't top. So if Poch can't deliver a Champions League or a league title to PSG, maybe he'll leave and maybe he'll come home. I mean, you never know.
Well, I think if Lille draw one, because they've got 2 games to go, PSG have got 3. If PSG win all 3 and Lille win and draw, then I think PSG win the league. But it's all ifs and buts again, isn't it? For Pochettino. But surely he'd be under pressure, Josh, wouldn't he, if he didn't win that league title?
Yeah, totally. And I think obviously the PSG kind of owners and that they will be putting him under a lot of pressure. But if as Simon says, he does have unfinished business at Spurs. And he did express himself that he always wanted to come back to Tottenham. Even after he left, in some interviews and stuff on BT Sport, on Sky Sports, he always said he loves the club. And obviously, I think he does definitely have some unfinished business. And I wouldn't have a problem with him coming back. And I'm sure you wouldn't either, Chris. But yeah, the only man who does excite me is him. Or maybe Julian Nagelsmann, but he's off. That's a shame. That is a real shame that he's gone to Bayern Munich. But anyone else out there just really isn't exciting me. The name's like what's his name? Graham Potter. I'm starting to sound like Jose. Graham Potter. He manages Brighton. Yeah, they play decent football. They probably play better football than their position in the Premier League. But should he be managing Tottenham? No. I mean, we've had some great managers over the past 10 years. We can't be going for someone like Graham Potter. I want people like Pochettino playing really decent attacking football and playing in the Champions League. But what about you, Chris? I don't know what you think about the whole Poch. Do you think we can even get him?
I think it's unrealistic. I'd love to see it happen. I would. Interestingly, you talk about Pochettino. 2 years to the day. 2 years ago today, we won 3-2. At Ajax. It was that incredible night where Pochettino was in tears in their interview after the game. Take us back, Josh, 2 years ago, to where the club is now. How different do you think it is?
Well, if you just think about it 2 years ago, all you can do is it brings a massive smile to a face. Like you said, just you describing it there, put a massive smile on my face. And what a night that was, honestly. I remember I was in the pub with some of my Spurs mates, my dad, some other people in the pub, and it was just incredible when Lucas Moura scored that last-minute goal. I think that might have been like one of the highlights of my life, like my last 19 years on this planet. Like that was incredible. There's no other feeling that's ever been like that. I'm not gonna lie. Like it was absolutely amazing. And I think every Spurs fan shares that and will never forget that. I'm sure if you're young, maybe in like 70 odd years or something, you'll be telling our grandchildren about that day, because wow, what a night that was. But yeah, the club, it's everything's gone kind of downhill since then. It's such a shame. We were really in. That was the kind of peak, wasn't it? Getting into a Champions League final, having that incredible footballing side, and coming from 3-0 down to get into a Champions League final in 45 minutes. That is incredible. That is incredible footballing achievement. And then to compare it to what's happened this year, sacking Jose Mourinho, kind of not winning any more trophies, losing 3-0 to Dynamo Zagreb in the Europa League. I mean, it's a downward trend. And what we need to do is we need to buck that trend. We need to completely change direction, and we need to start kind of improving. That's literally what we need to do. And the first thing we need to do is get back in the Champions League. I mean, we don't belong in the Europa League, and I'm sure absolutely everyone agrees with that. We belong in the Champions League with players like Harry Kane and Gareth Bale and Heung-min Son, world-class players. Hugo Lloris, they are absolutely world-class players. I mean, Lloris has been such a decent, not just decent, but an amazing servant to this club. He's won the World Cup with France, but he hasn't won a trophy with us. And these players, we've said it so many times, Chris, these players deserve a trophy at this club, and they deserve to play Champions League football as well.
Oh, don't get me on about trophies, Josh. It's just far too long. Honestly, every single video I put out now, we're talking about trophies. It's ridiculous. Now, when you honestly think, 60 years now, the anniversary has just passed. 60 years since we last won, a league title. It's ridiculous. 84 since the last time we won a European trophy, 91 since an FA Cup, and 2008 since we won a League Cup, last domestic trophy. David writes here, Pochettino would be mad to come back because he'd still have the same players that let him down and let Jose Mourinho down. Realistically, Josh, do you see that? Do you see that Pochettino, could possibly come back in the summer? Realistically,
I think if it does go horrifically wrong at PSG, and obviously I think if the dressing room or something, they completely lost their heads, PSG, in that Champions League. But I do agree with David. I mean, I think if he was to come back, if Pochettino was to come home to Tottenham, as you could say, there would still be the same players that threw him under the bus. And I think another kind of factor that you need is a rebuild. And Pochettino talked about that. He needed a rebuild, and he wasn't given the opportunity to rebuild Tottenham. I think, can't remember the exact quotes, but he was talking about a house and the furniture. And I'm sure some people know that exact quotes, but it's in a BT Sport interview. But Daniel Levy obviously didn't listen to him, and he didn't invest for 500 days during his tenure in charge of Tottenham. And I think that has impacted us to this day. But I think if Pochettino was to come back, and that would be a dream for a lot of Spurs fans, I think he'd need to be granted a complete rebuild. He'd need a lot of funds. I think a lot of players need to leave the club, and we need to tie down a lot of players as well. We need to have Harry. We need to have Son signing more long-term contracts. We can't be dealing with this with transfer speculation. But I think if Pochettino came back and we achieved Champions League football this year, although it's a very tough one saying that Poch is coming back, but if we achieved Champions League football this year, I don't think Harry will leave. I don't think many people are going to leave that we're worried about. Let's just say that.
Josh, very quickly, Retro Gamer writes, what do you guys think about Harry Kane being linked with Manchester United? Now, we just keep seeing link after link after link. All these legends coming out, all of, Premier League, ex-Premier League players saying that Harry Kane should leave in order to win trophies. What are your thoughts? Do you think that Harry Kane will be a Tottenham Hotspur player at the start of next season?
Yeah, I do. Honestly, I know I just said that we need Champions League football. I think Harry, he's got a contract until 2024, and I think because of that, Daniel Levy holds all the cards. No one can afford him, I don't think, because Daniel Levy's going to want so much money for him. And I don't think these clubs are going to be able to afford a 28-year-old Harry Kane, or I don't think they're going to spend something like £200 million for Harry Kane. I don't like this transfer. I really don't like this transfer speculation. I think a lot of it is about clicks online. It triggers Spurs fans. We all start worrying, and we click on these articles, and these companies make money off it. But if you use this kind of same word, saying that Harry Kane needs to leave Spurs because he needs to show ambition to win trophies, then maybe we should start saying that about some Arsenal players like Saka. Maybe Saka needs to show some ambition and leave Arsenal, who aren't going to have any European football this year because they just got knocked out by Villarreal. I don't like that kind of terminology, honestly. It's a bit of a joke. Harry Kane's had lots of opportunities to win trophies at Tottenham. He's had limitless amounts of opportunities. You can go back throughout the past 5-6 years. We've been in countless semi-finals and multiple finals, including the pinnacle of football. And sadly, the team just doesn't turn up. So really, they need to turn up. If they need to actually score some goals. But like we've said before, they haven't scored. This team, this Tottenham side, has been in 3 cup finals in the past 6 years, and they haven't scored a single goal in a cup final. Come on now, that's not good enough. And it's down to the players to score goals and win cup finals and cup semi-finals. Honestly, so yeah, I think I can't see Harry Kane leaving. Do you think he'll stay?
I'm hoping and praying, Josh, that he stays. But I think really this summer is going to be now or never. I think if he doesn't leave this summer, then I think he's going to be at Tottenham Hotspur for the rest of his career. And I hope so anyway. But the board do need to invest money around him, and they need to make him the focal point like he is at Spurs. Him, Heung-min Son, Hugo Lloris. I feel sorry for all of these senior players, and as we keep saying, a lot that haven't won any trophies at the club. And Spurs now need to show real intent of where we want to go, what we want to do, in future seasons. I want to see Tottenham challenging for the Premier League. I know some people will laugh at that and say, well, it's ridiculous, but the game is about glory. We want to be seeing trophies. We want to be seeing our team challenge for the big prizes. And Harry Kane even said those words himself. He wants to be, winning the big prizes as a team. Not all these individual awards.
Yeah, I totally agree. Chris, I have a question for you, actually. Do you see any Spurs players leaving this summer to join Roma and Mourinho?
Eric Lamela. I wouldn't be at all surprised, Eric Lamela. But will Jose come in for any of them? It's a really interesting question. Will Jose Mourinho come in for them? Because he probably feels that some of those players did let him down as well. I know he's a big fan of Lucas Moura. He's tried to sign him at other clubs. He's tried to sign Eric Dyer at other clubs. Will he come in for them? It'd be very interesting. But will Daniel Levy want to do any business with Jose Mourinho? We don't know quite how they parted. Was it an argument? Was it a big bust up? We don't know. Will he come back to Spurs and try and sign any players? It'd be very interesting. It wouldn't surprise me really if he did or he didn't. Perhaps some of these players need to go anyway, Josh. Perhaps we get some money for them. But I do agree with you. I can see Eric Lamela happening, because I think that Tottenham would probably want to offload Eric Lamela and get some money in for him. And Jose was a big fan of him. Josh, before we go, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Gareth Bale, because, of course, he got his hat-trick against Sheffield United in our last Premier League game. Fantastic finishes from him, all 3 goals. Do you see him staying at Spurs next season?
Yeah, I do. I think we hold some kind of advantage. We've got a kind of first acceptance over another loan deal for Gareth Bale, for another 1-year loan deal, and I think that's what Daniel Levy will do. I think he'll get Gareth Bale on loan, but I think Real Madrid really just want to offload Gareth Bale, which I'm shocked about, to be quite honest. Zinedine Zidane and Perez really just dislike Gareth Bale. And watching Real Madrid the other night against Chelsea, the one player they needed to come on the pitch to actually help them out was Gareth Bale. I mean, it's absolutely shocking. They need Gareth Bale, but that's to our advantage. He's our player now. Obviously, he's on loan, but he's a Tottenham boy. But yeah, I think we definitely need to tie down Gareth Bale, whether that be a loan deal or a permanent deal. For like 3 years or something. Gareth Bale is still there. That special player is still there. And I think we need to secure him. He's 31. A lot of players in the Premier League are still playing until they're like 33, 34. And I think Gareth Bale, the world-class player that he is, he's still going to have the ability and the talent at that age. So yeah, I think we need to get him for next year. And I just want fans to be in the stadium to watch Gareth Bale. As we've said before, we really deserve to watch Gareth Bale at the Tottenham Stadium as fans, and hopefully on the last home game of the season, Aston Villa, 10,000 Spurs fans in the stadium. Hopefully Gareth Bale will be playing, and we'll all finally be able to watch him play in a Spurs shirt, which will be lovely to see.
It definitely will. Yeah, can't wait for that, Josh. It'd be so nice to get back into the stadium on a regular basis, which of course, at the moment they're saying from the start of next Premier League season, we are back at full capacity, and I cannot wait because I've really missed it. Really have. For anyone just joining us, the starting 11 for Spurs today against Leeds United is exactly the same starting 11 that faced Sheffield United in our last Premier League game. Hugo Lloris in goal, and in the back four of Serge Aurier, Toby Alderweireld, Eric Dyer and Sergio Reguilon. And then in midfield, Giovanni Lo Celso, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. And then we've got Gareth Bale, Dele Alli, Heung-min Son and Harry Kane. Substitutes today, Matt Doherty, Davinson Sanchez, Harry Winks, Eric Lamela, Joe Hart, Moussa Sissoko, Stephen Bergwijn, Lucas Moura and Tanguy Ndombele. A win for Tottenham today could take us 5th in the Premier League, only 2 points away from Chelsea in that Champions League spot in 4th place. Josh, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. What are you going for?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. I did originally say a 2-2 draw, but I think you've got me stoked up and positive now, Chris, after this 32-minute video. So yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-1 or even a 2-0.
I love it. We're only meant to be talking for 5-10 minutes, and it's 32 minutes. And I feel like there's so much more we could discuss, Josh.
Yeah.
But enjoy the game this afternoon. Let's hope that Tottenham can get the 3 points. Josh, thank you very much as always, and come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.